So what happens when troopers stop each other for speeding? Well, I'm going to tell you. Welcome to law. So what happens when troopers stop each other for speeding? Well, I'm going to tell you. Welcome to the law and life. I'm your lawyer, Patrick McGeehan, and I am your best friend at your worst time. This comes to us from WBRZ Channel 2 in Louisiana. And State Police Superintendent Lamar Davis was stopped on the Basin Bridge for doing 90 miles an hour in a 60-mile-an-hour speed zone. If you don't know where the Basin Bridge is, it's a part of I-10. It's 18 miles long, and it's between Lafayette and Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I've traveled that bridge a bunch of times, and it's basically, just over a bayou, and it's very long and very straight, and people fly on that bridge. The last time I crossed it was in April of this year, and people were just flying left and right. Anyway, the superintendent was stopped on the bridge for doing 90 miles an hour in a 60-mile-an-hour zone. The trooper who stopped him didn't issue a citation. I'm going to play you the body camera video and the dash cam video right now. This is the dash cam video. Now, if you look closely, you can see the superintendent's SUV, that black one in front, pulling over now, and the trooper is in a Dodge Charger. But look in the back window of the SUV. You can see the blue lights flashing up at the top under the third brake light. And that's the end. It doesn't say who the trooper was that stopped him, but I've been in that position before. You never want to stop one of the big bosses. In this case, it is the big boss. It's a very uncomfortable situation. The trooper most likely knows that something's going on when he sees the blue lights come on in the back of the SUV. Anyway, the trooper turned off his body camera video after he said a couple words, but prior to engaging with the superintendent in a conversation there. Most police departments, all the police departments that I know of, have a policy, a departmental policy, which requires them to keep the camera on during citizen contacts. But they also have a policy to turn it off. A lot of police departments have a policy to turn the body camera off when engaging in conversations with members of command staff or other officers where appropriate. I also have some experience with those policies. I represented a police officer one time that had a meeting with a supervisor, and the supervisor made some pretty outlandish statements. And I asked the officer, I go, how are we going to prove that? And he goes, I had my body camera video on. So I did a public records request for the body camera, and sure enough, it was on, and the supervisor made the statements claimed by the officer, and it wasn't very nice. Anyway, on this particular incident, information that came from, it looks like anonymous sources, say that they were ordered by the superintendent. The troopers were ordered by the superintendent to crack down on speeders on this particular roadway. There are also sources in the department that said when people were going 30 miles an hour over the speed limit, the officers are supposed to take their driver's license away. The superintendent also spoke to the news outlet about the stop, and he says, I was wrong, I admit that, I take full responsibility. He says, I try to do too much in a day and I need to practice what I preach, and I don't want to put anyone in a position to stop me or any other trooper. I was wrong, there's no excuse, I don't believe in excuses. The superintendent also admitted that he's been stopped before for speeding. They added that the trooper that stopped him will not be disciplined for turning off his body camera, and the situation will not affect any other citations written on the Basin Bridge that day. So pretty typical. It looks bad for the Louisiana State Police, especially when the big boss is out speeding. It does happen. It's very uncomfortable for the patrol level officer. I know it was uncomfortable for me when it happened a couple times to me. Cops stop each other all the time. Some cops have a policy about not writing tickets to other cops. Some cops just don't care. They'll write anybody, including their own mother, especially if they're motorcycle traffic cops. Anyway, so that's what happens when troopers stop each other, at least in Louisiana.